You step into a room and everything subtly shifts. Conversations slow down, smiles lose their warmth, and laughter fades into uneasy silence. People glance at you differently, sometimes with a quick flash of discomfort, sometimes with a guarded distance. They don't say it out loud, but you can feel the invisible walls rising between you and everyone else. It's as if your presence disturbs some hidden balance. Something about your energy unsettles them. Something they can't quite put their finger on, but feel deeply. You might not realize it, but your aura is sending powerful signals. Signals that scare people more than you think. Today, we're diving into the 14 reasons why your aura makes people uncomfortable. Reasons rooted deep in psychology, philosophy, and the raw human experience. Understanding these will change how you see yourself and how the world responds to you. Your aura reflects their mask, and they hate what they see. Have you ever noticed how some people shrink or clam up around you, almost like you're exposing a secret they don't want revealed? This isn't paranoia. It's basic human nature. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster." Your aura is that light fighting against the masks others wear to hide their inner monsters. In psychology, this is called projection. People unconsciously reject what they see in you because it reflects parts of themselves they fear or deny. Think about it. When you're authentic and unapologetic, you become a mirror they're terrified to look into. Studies show that people with low self-esteem are especially threatened by authenticity in others because it highlights their own insecurities. So, when you walk into a room, your energy silently screams, "This is who I am," and their carefully crafted facade suddenly feels flimsy. You don't even have to say a word. Your aura alone forces them to confront their own shadows. And that kind of truth is excruciating. No wonder they avoid you or react with thinly veiled hostility. You are the unwelcome mirror they desperately want to shatter. You speak through silence, and that pressure is unbearable. Silence can be terrifying, but not all silences are equal. Your silence is different. It's heavy with meaning, charged with presence, and impossible to ignore. Carl Jung believed that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Your silence is that reaction. Most people panic in silence because it forces them to confront themselves. Ever noticed how awkward people get when you don't fill every pause with chatter? That discomfort isn't accidental. Social psychologist Edward T. Hall identified proxemics, how people regulate space and interaction to avoid vulnerability. Your stillness invades their emotional space, dismantling their defenses. In experiments, participants asked to endure silence with strangers showed heightened anxiety and heart rate. That's the invisible weight your silence carries. It forces others to hear their own thoughts. Thoughts they often run from with noise, distractions, or fake smiles. You become a pressure point, an unavoidable confrontation with their inner world, and that pressure, it's unbearable for most. You see through motives, not just words. Ever get the feeling you're the only one who notices the cracks in someone's story? That's your aura's power. It reads the unsaid. In the 20th century, psychologist Paul Ekman identified micro-expressions, fleeting facial cues that reveal true emotions before someone can hide them. Your energy is tuned to this subtle truth. This isn't paranoia or suspicion. It's a biological skill hardwired in those with high emotional intelligence. You pick up on hesitation, hidden agendas, and emotional double talk instinctively. When you interact, you don't just listen to words, you decode the motives behind them. This creates an invisible tension. People don't like being seen as anything other than their carefully crafted image. When you expose the truth beneath their smiles or lies, they feel threatened. Research shows that when people feel exposed, their fight or flight response triggers subtle defensive behaviors, withdrawing, sarcasm, or coldness. Your aura disrupts their social performance, and that makes them deeply uncomfortable. You don't chase approval, and that creates unease. Imagine a room where everyone is fishing for likes, approval, and validation. Then there's you, standing steady, unaffected. This independence isn't just refreshing, it's disarming. Social psychologist Abraham Maslow emphasized that self-actualization, the state of being fully yourself, requires freedom from the need for external approval. Your aura broadcasts a silent message. I don't need you to like me. That flips the usual social script. Most people's egos are fragile ecosystems dependent on approval like air. When they encounter someone who doesn't crave it, it triggers a primal confusion and envy. Studies show that people often ostracize or subtly sabotage those who refuse to conform to group approval dynamics. Your confidence threatens their emotional economy, disrupting the balance of power. They don't know how to read you because your independence signals you are outside their influence, and that scares them. You radiate depth, and that demands emotional honesty. When your aura enters a room, the energy shifts. You don't just skim surfaces, you dive deep. Viktor Frankl wrote about logotherapy, the pursuit of meaning beyond superficial comforts. Your presence demands meaning, authenticity, and emotional rawness. Most people avoid this because emotional honesty is exhausting and painful. They'd rather joke, distract, or detach than feel deeply. But you pull others toward vulnerability whether you want to or not. Your energy resonates with the part of the human spirit that craves truth. This creates an unspoken pressure. People feel drawn to you, but also threatened because facing their own emotions is terrifying. Neuroscience reveals that emotional honesty activates brain regions linked with both pleasure and pain, meaning that the tension around you is chemically real. Your aura doesn't just invite conversation. It demands a reckoning with the self, and many recoil from that fire. Your intensity is overwhelming. Intensity is a double-edged sword. Philosopher Nietzsche praised the will to power, an unstoppable force within the human spirit, but warned that it can intimidate those unwilling to confront it. Your aura pulses with this force. It's not just what you do, but how you do it. Your focus, your presence, your gaze, everything radiates a concentrated energy that disrupts the usual social softness people expect. Social psychologist Jonathan Haidt points out that people prefer predictable social signals. Your intensity is unpredictable and raw. This intensity is a spotlight. It highlights insecurities and forces attention where most want comfort. People instinctively back away because your energy threatens their emotional equilibrium. Intensity triggers the amygdala, the brain's fear center, causing unease and defensive behavior. In other words, your aura doesn't ask permission to shake the room. It just does, and that kind of power makes most people uneasy. Your emotional boundaries are razor sharp, and that makes people feel rejected. When your aura sets clear limits, it sends a silent message. I respect myself and expect others to do the same. But many people are used to blurred emotional boundaries, vague lines that allow them to step over others and claim space without consequence. Psychologist Brené Brown explains that boundaries are crucial for healthy relationships, but are often resisted by those used to taking advantage. Your firm boundaries can feel like rejection to others. They're not used to being told no or having their advances stopped. This creates discomfort because it challenges their entitlement. Emotional boundary setting interrupts the usual social scripts where people try to push, test, or guilt trip their way into connection. Studies show that people with weak boundaries tend to feel threatened or anxious when others maintain strong ones. Your aura, radiating self-respect, inadvertently triggers their fears of abandonment or loneliness. They might pull away or lash out because deep down, they're afraid your boundaries mean they don't belong in your world. You don't wear your pain on your sleeve, you carry it quietly. There's an invisible strength in bearing your suffering silently. Viktor Frankl said, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Your aura speaks of this silent resilience, a quiet depth that doesn't beg for sympathy, but commands respect. Many people rely on outward displays of pain to connect or manipulate social dynamics, drama as a tool for attention or control. Your ability to endure pain internally, without neediness or grandstanding, unsettles those who use emotional displays to navigate social spaces. Psychological research finds that people are often uncomfortable around those who do not respond predictably to emotional triggers. Your composed endurance creates ambiguity. They can't easily read or influence you, so they feel powerless and uneasy. Your quiet strength doesn't scream for rescue or validation, and this calm intensity makes others confront their own emotional fragility. Your authenticity challenges. They're comfort zones. Authenticity is a radical act. Jean-Paul Sartre insisted that freedom is what you do with what's been done to you. When your aura radiates authenticity, it forces others to face their own compromises, pretenses, and self-deceptions. Most people live in psychological comfort zones full of denial, distraction, and social facades. Your honest presence punctures these bubbles like a needle. This kind of discomfort is primal because it threatens the illusions people cling to for survival. Studies on social conformity show that individuals often resist authentic people because they fear social rejection themselves. Your refusal to conform becomes a mirror reflecting their hidden fears and the cost of inauthenticity. And that reflection is painful. Your aura disrupts their mental safety nets, leaving them exposed and defensive. You radiate a nonverbal power that defies explanation. Power is often spoken about in words or status, but your power is more primal, more raw. Philosopher Michel Foucault described power as a network of relationships rather than something held by one person. Your aura is a web of silent influence that shapes how others behave around you. This kind of nonverbal power unsettles people because it's intangible. They can't bargain, manipulate, or compete with it easily. It's a magnetic force field that commands respect without demands or threats. Psychological studies on charisma reveal that people respond instinctively to those who exude presence and calm authority. Your aura acts as a social cue that triggers compliance or wariness, depending on the observer's insecurities. The discomfort arises because your power disrupts their usual ways of controlling social interaction, leaving them unsure how to engage with you. Your vulnerability is hidden, not absent, and that confuses people. Vulnerability is often associated with weakness, but it's actually a form of courage. Brené Brown famously argues that vulnerability is the birthplace of connection and creativity. Your aura carries vulnerability, but it's subtle, not a cry for help, but a quiet, unyielding honesty. This hidden vulnerability confounds people who expect emotional signals to be obvious. Your balanced openness means you don't overshare or seek reassurance, which leaves others uncertain how to approach you emotionally. This ambiguity triggers social discomfort because people crave predictability. Neuroscientific studies suggest that unpredictable emotional cues heighten anxiety and mistrust in social situations. Your aura's layered vulnerability demands empathy, but it doesn't beg. It silently tests whether others can meet you where you are, and many recoil because they're not ready for that level of emotional complexity. You reflect energy, and people fear their own darkness. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow is essential here. The parts of ourselves we deny or reject live in the unconscious, yet they influence everything we do. Your aura acts as a reflector of shadow energy. When you're around others, your energy bounces back the parts of them they don't want to face: anger, jealousy, fear, or sadness. This reflection forces them to confront their inner demons, which is deeply uncomfortable. Psychologists find that shadow confrontation often leads to defensive mechanisms: denial, projection, or aggression. Your presence can trigger these because you are an unspoken reminder of their unresolved internal conflicts. Many people avoid you because they're afraid their own darkness will be revealed, and worse, they fear it will take over if acknowledged. Your confidence is not loud, but it's unshakable. Confidence often gets mistaken for arrogance or loudness, but true confidence is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. Nietzsche praised this kind of confidence as the expression of the will to power without desperation. Your aura exudes this calm certainty. It doesn't shout for attention or seek validation. Instead, it quietly claims space and demands respect through presence alone. People are uncomfortable with this because it's hard to rattle or manipulate. They prefer confidence that's more performative and easier to challenge. Your unshakable confidence makes them feel insecure about their own shaky self-belief. Studies show that people often project their insecurities onto confident individuals, sometimes reacting with envy, distrust, or attempts to undermine them. You challenge the status quo, and that threatens their worldview. At the core, your aura is a disruptive force. Philosopher Hannah Arendt warned that thinking without banisters, questioning established truths, makes society uneasy. Your energy signals nonconformity, critical thinking, and a refusal to accept easy answers. This challenges not just individuals, but collective social orders and norms. People fear what challenges their mental models because those models form the foundation of their reality. Social psychology reveals that people resist cognitive dissonance, the discomfort from holding contradictory beliefs, and they often reject the source of that dissonance. Your aura embodies that source. Because you question, you disturb the comfortable illusions that shield others from uncomfortable truths. That kind of threat breeds unease, rejection, and sometimes fear.